Hey guys, Tarke here, and once again I asked Twitter to ask me questions, but this time I thought it'd be fun to open it up. I said it doesn't have to be about PoE, you could ask me about other games, you could ask me about IRL, go wild. And we got 2 submissions. Yeah, cheers guys, appreciate it. So we're going to go with it anyway. We've got one question about Path of Exile, and we've got another question about rising transphobia in the UK. So very fun. I feel very qualified to talk on both of these topics. Yes. Do you think PoE endgame content would be better if it was more accessible by the vast majority of players, but only constantly beatable by the top players, as in the aspirational content argument? At least let players reach it, as opposed to it being hidden away. So yeah, I think a very good example is to be something like All. All is a very fun boss fight, but an incredibly rare boss fight. How many Alls have you guys had? I imagine a lot of you have never even had one. And the problem with having these super cool boss fights, which are incredibly rare, is oftentimes they're kind of unbeatable, especially if you go into them blind. And when you have, for example, when you have stuff with random modifiers, or stuff like Cortex and stuff like that, especially if the bosses aren't a set difficulty and there is the possibility for them to scale up into crazy difficulty, then yeah, making them super rare just isn't fun for anyone. And I think it's a real shame if a boss fight is so rare that players feel compelled to watch a boss guide before doing the boss fight. A lot of players will feel compelled to watch guides before they do the fight anyway, but I think going into bosses blind is the most fun. And yes, make bosses more accessible, make them easier to encounter, but therefore you can balance them to be harder, you can make them more punishing, because it's not a situation of you only get to do this boss fight once a league, or like once every X many hundreds of hours. So yes, I'm definitely part of the camp of make bosses more common, but then make them harder to compensate. I think nearly everyone is in favor of that, and also if you go for that route, you can then have it so you have more like Uber-style bosses. So you have the easier version of the fight, but it's a more common fight, and then it has a chance to drop like keys to do the super hard version, kind of like what you have with Itzeri and Uber Itzeri. So yes, definitely. Now for the other question, that as a middle-class white guy, I definitely feel very equipped to answer. Oh god, right, let's bring this up. I will censor this one because there are a few expletives in the message. How the actual hecking heck was it possible for the UK to become the base of transphobic fart hecks, and why does Bubs always look so soft and concerned? Thank you for the question. Bubs always looks so soft and concerned because she is very soft, and she is also very concerned. She's a very anxious wee lady. Yeah, when we got her from the shelter, she was a complete and utter just like, eh. She's doing much better now. She's really come out of her shell a bit, but yeah, no, she's definitely very much a anxious pusscat. As for how did the UK become the base for transphobia, I think it's actually a real issue. A lot of people would like to take this stuff not very seriously, but I did a tiny bit of research in preparation for this. And apparently the rate of crimes against the trans community is up by 16%, which is quite worrying. And there's been increasing pushes from the current government to, remove basic rights. Why is it becoming a thing? Why is it so deep-seated in the UK? Without getting overtly political with my political answer, I would say a lot of it's to do with the current Tory government. Likewise, whether you liked the dude or not, I didn't. With Trump in America, when you have certain people in power, it empowers the bases, and yeah, you get a lot more bigotry. Bigotry is bad, and unfortunately, marginalized groups are by their very definition marginalized and have very little to no representation when it comes to government. So yeah, it's pretty trash. Also, J.K. Rowling. Bad lady. Yeah, so to end this on a slightly more positive note, I'm now going to ask myself questions to make up for Twitter only asking me 2 questions in a Twitter Q&A. Thanks, Twitter. Tarke, have you listened to any good music recently? Yes, Tarke, I have. The new Little Sims album is banging. I did enjoy Donda. Probably give it like a 7 or 8 out of 10. Bit of a messy album. It definitely needs some patching up. The mix is a bit sloppy, but I like the overall messaging. King's Disease 2 by Nas was excellent. Really enjoyed that. And the latest Gorillaz LP was also, would recommend. It's only 3 tracks, it's very short, but it was a good vibe through and through and through. But yes, I'm Tarke. Have a good day. Do better next time, Twitter. Bye-bye.